Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Red Sky Pods, Champion League draw reaction show. I'm joined by three of my esteemed colleagues and Liverpool fans, Ian Young, Thiago's father, Dave Kong. Evening, chaps.
All right, fellow, how are you?
Hello, Paul.
So without further ado, we'll get into the draw, and we'll leave our one that we're going to speak about until the end of that. So, PSG versus Bayern, Manchester City versus Dortmund, Chelsea versus Porto, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. The first thing I'd like to say about that is Manchester City can't draw Port Vale in the Champions League semi-final. So there's a chance they won't get to the final. So moving on, guys, let's have a little look into the draw. We'll spend most time talking about Liverpool for obvious reasons. We'll start with PSG Bayern, which is a repeat of last year's final. There seems to be a little bit of a theme in two of these games, sort of people with scores to settle. So PSG will certainly have one of those to settle with Bayern having lost the final. So Jay, what's your thoughts on that game, mate?
I mean, for my sins, I love Bayern Munich. I also love PSG as well. With the PSG thing, it's just the glitz and the glamour, innit? Not really the football. But with Bayern, they're going to bring a lot of pace. They're going to bring a lot of power. Their possession game's good, but their forwards, you think about Sane, you think about Gnabry, think about Kingsley Coman, you think about Lewandowski, Müller, Goretzka. Just that whole forward line is full of top draw players that can land a killer blow on any single team. So I think Paris Saint-Germain are going to have their work cut out for them because defensively they're not great. But at the same time, I think Bayern can be got at defensively as well. That was demonstrated or has been demonstrated recently in terms of their Bundesliga form. But they have looked to move to shore that up with the signing of Upamecano as of next season. So I think they're aware of it. But yeah, it's going to be a mega tie. I expect a lot of goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for me is that I agree with you. I think that both teams have got mouthwatering attackers, and I suppose it depends whether Neymar's fit. There's a question mark whether he will be. What I would say is in the Champions League final, Bayern could have been 2 down in 10 minutes. They do give chances, and the QE2 turns quicker than Jerome Boateng these days. So you know, I think there are opportunities to get it at Bayern, and Nicolas Soulé is an Olympic sprinter, so. Whilst Bayern have got loads of things on the front foot, which often take the game away from the opposition, I do believe PSG will, if they're sensible and look at the video from the final, we'll see if they'd have converted their early chances, they would have given Bayern Munich a big problem to solve. So that's a really interesting game for me. PSG obviously have got the prodigious Mbappe up front, who's in a great vein of form at the moment, so you know, you talk about Louis, you talk about Sane, you talk about all of the superstars at Bayern Munich. That guy for me is head and shoulders above everyone right now in terms of current form. You wouldn't want to face him. That would be the only thing you wouldn't want Liverpool to have faced. Is a Mbappe rich in form. So moving on to we'll do the Chelsea Porto game next. I'm going to come to you, Dave Kong. Obvious question is who would you rather have in the semis? And how do you see that game going, and what are the things we would be looking out for?
I think, as you said earlier on, the Porto are a bit of an unknown quantity for me. But Chelsea, since Tuchel took over, they've really got a little bit of form going. And, you know, they're a bit... if all them players, their star players, click, they can be a little bit frightening. You know, and they've also got Pulisic who they keep on throwing in, but they're all still getting used to the pace of the Premiership, aren't they? And they're starting to gel a bit more as a team, as opposed to when Lampard was there. You know, but as for the semis, I want City in the semis. I do fancy Chelsea to beat Porto, but I would like City in the semis just to break the heart when we go through to Istanbul and lift it again.
I don't know if you know, Dave, the semi-final draw's already been done. And if Chelsea beat Porto and we beat Real Madrid, that we play Chelsea.
Yeah. Oh, right. Sorry, I wasn't with you. I didn't know, to be honest.
So City could beat us in the final if everybody gets to where they need to get to.
Oh,
and I think that is a dreadful a dreadful proposition, mate, because I don't think the 12 genuine Man City fans on Twitter will give us a minute piece if they win that game in the final, mate, and I don't fancy that.
Yeah, no, I don't fancy City in the final.
No,
I really don't.
Not over one game, not for me.
No.
I think you're right. You make a really good point about Chelsea there, Dave, to be fair. Tuchel's getting the tune out of the team. It's not his. He's getting the best out of some players. Timo Werner looked like a footballer the other night for the first time in 8 months. Let's not hide the fact that the guy was in ridiculous form last season and the year before that with Leipzig. He's clearly got something to offer. I think the major difference is Lampard got a bit lost trying to get the best out of his players, and I think Tuchel is a more tactically astute manager and a better exponent of footballers and playing them in the right position. So I think Chelsea are dangerous, mate. I genuinely do. I watched them this week, just to have a little look, and against in their game against Atletico Madrid, they were never in danger of losing that game. They controlled that game from first to last whistle, and it was quite impressive to watch. And I don't like bestowing praise on Chelsea, but when you're in the last 8 of the Champions League, Porto are probably the only team in there that would be surprised to be where they are. To us, maybe not to them. The other 7 teams will genuinely be going into this thinking they've got a chance of winning the tournament. It's kind of really strange when you get to this part of the competition. Everyone's quite capable of winning the next four games and find themselves in the final, aren't they? So really interesting. So Ian, I'll talk to you about Man City versus Dortmund. Obviously, Man City are in a rich vein of form at the moment. Manchester United game aside, playing really well, brushing people aside. Not really playing a team like Dortmund in terms of the Haaland thing with the attack and the Sancho feeding him. What's your thoughts on the City Dortmund game, and how do you see that going? And is it as black and white as people think it's going to be?
First of all, every season I go into the season thinking Man City are going to get their act together for the Champions League this season. And rather worryingly, rather concerningly, I think this could be it, because they're defending a lot better this year. I think defending is an absolute art form, and it's so important in the Champions League. Apart from City, I think all the other 7 teams conceded a lot of chances. I think Liverpool do concede chances. I think Chelsea, maybe not the last couple of weeks since Tuchel come in, but they were conceding chances. I think you could get at any of the teams, Dortmund, Bayern, all included. So I can see all the games being high scoring. I would fancy Dortmund normally, but it all depends on how City do with controlling Haaland and if they can keep him out the game. I think if Haaland has a good game, good 2 games, I think City go out. But I think if Man City can cope with Haaland, I think Man City will go through.
Looking at that game for me, I think Manchester City will be too strong in the middle of the park for Dortmund. You don't see the likes of Dahoud getting a grip of Kevin De Bruyne or Bernardo Silva or Emre Can stepping into a defensive midfield position where he's been playing in the back 4 of late. I just think in the centre of the park, City is too strong for Dortmund. It'd be one of those things where Dortmund score like 2 goals in 7 minutes because they have a real purple patch in the game, and then can they hang on to me? I just don't see them controlling the game. I don't see anybody controlling the game against Manchester City. And even if we were to play them in the final, we'd have to play Man City as very much as a counter-attacking side. They're just very strong in the spine through the middle of the park. And as I say, I can't see Dortmund getting a grip of that midfield.
Witzel's a big miss for them. A huge miss. He's been out injured for most of the season. Without him in there, like you said, grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, Dortmund just, even in the league, they've just struggled to get any grip over anything. Also, the manager leaving as well, being sacked. That's not helped. They've got a new manager coming in, which they know who the new manager is. He's the Mönchengladbach manager going over there next. But I think at the moment they're a wounded animal. But like you said, they've got 3 key elements or 4 key elements in their arsenal. They've got Haaland, Royce, Bellingham, and Sancho. And those four could do some damage. I'd love them to do some damage.
Let's hope they get a couple of breakaways and Haaland runs right and rips the bells out of City.
Wouldn't it be great TV?
Yeah.
Do you know what? That comment comes straight off Satan Greavesy, didn't it? Quality that way, quality. So on to the big one, lads, because we're only going to do a short show on this. On to the big one: Liverpool versus Real Madrid. Salah versus Ramos 2. Wouldn't it be nice to do what we did to them when Gerrard scored that brace and Hussein scored a few years ago when Iker Casillas was man of the match and he absolutely walloped them? So, just generally around the room, Ian, thoughts on Real Madrid? What do you think of Real Madrid these days?
They're not the same Real Madrid we played what seemed like a lifetime ago. I mean, people keep saying to me a couple of years ago, and it seems like forever ago because of the pandemic and what we've done since. They'll still be dangerous because the Real Madrid, they've got great attacking players. They're always going to be able to create chances. We haven't had our strongest back four in now for like 7 or 8 months, which is always a concern. But Liverpool are going into that game with something to prove. Everybody seems to be going on about the revenge between Salah and Ramos. I don't think Salah cares. I don't think Salah's that type of person. Don't get me wrong, he'll be motivated for that game, but he'll be motivated because it's the Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid. They'll have nothing to do with Ramos. I just think we might want this a little bit more, especially with what's going on in the league right now. Our season pretty much comes to an abrupt end once we go off the Champions League, in my opinion. So I think we'll be wanting to extend this season for as long as we can. And Klopp will want to be as well. So don't be surprised if you see some... I'm not saying he's going to play the kids or anything, but I think his team selections will very much go towards favouring the Champions League from now on. I think we'll do it. I've got a good feeling about it. But I think it'll be a struggle. We certainly won't beat them 4-0 like we did years ago. It won't happen. But I think we'll do them. And I think we'll play Chelsea in the next round.
Right, so Real Madrid will come to you again, Jay. Real Madrid, obviously, no Hazard. That's going to be the big story, isn't it?
They're missing.
That alone's not enough, is it? That alone isn't enough of a handicap, is it, for us to discount them? We should be wary of them, shouldn't we?
100%. I mean, I always talk to sort of City fans, especially, about what it takes to win the Champions League. It's not just the 11 men that you've got out on that pitch. It's a club thing. And once a club has that Champions League ethos, that Champions League aura about them, they're very, very hard to discredit in the competition. You look at the finalists or the quarterfinalists at the moment. All of those quarterfinalists, bar Manchester City, have been in the Champions League final. PSG, Bayern, Liverpool, Real, Dortmund, Porto. All of them have been Champions League finalists, bar Manchester City. So all those clubs there know what it takes to get to the final. They know what it takes to win in the final. Just on Real Madrid, they're a wounded animal at the moment. They've not hit the heights of the Real Madrid of old. They're missing that little bit of sparkle that they've always had. Ronaldo used to provide that little bit of glitz, that person that's going to pop up and grab that goal in that situation where their back's against the wall. Don't get me wrong, they've got match winners. Sergio Ramos is a match winner. As much as I despise the man, it can't be discredited what he's done, the amount of goals he's scored. He's a match winner. Benzema's a match winner. Modric, Kroos, Casemiro. They've got players in there that can do things. They've also got this kind of young, resurgent set of players coming through. Asensio coming through. What's the young Brazilian lad coming through?
Vinicius Jr.
Yeah, he was on fire the other night. I think he weaved the whole team the other night, didn't he? And almost put it away. So they've got that little bit of young talent in there as well. But just flicking back to Liverpool, I look at our front three, whether it be a combination of Firmino, Mane and Salah, or whether Firmino drops out and Jota comes in, we can get at that defence. I reckon if we're on job and the combination play is right, because we rely on combination play, the ball's got to get into that front three early, and they've got to get in and around each other and play some tight football. If we can do that, I reckon we can tear them apart, because there's going to be too much pace to live with them. They're an ageing team. They're all 30 plus in the middle of the park. You know, if we can get amongst them and run them hard, and I mean run them hard, and play football the way we play, Fabinho playing in the middle, getting control of that midfield, and the ball going early into our forwards, we'll do them. We'll do them.
With the exception of Varane, all of their central players in defence and midfield lack pace.
Yeah.
That said, Dave Kong, would you go with Salah, Jota and Mane, or would you go with Salah, Mane and Firmino, or would you do something different?
Yeah, I would actually, and we might have said this a few shows ago, I would have our normal front three of Salah, Mane and Firmino, but I'd have Jota in any of them front three and have Firmino at the top of the spear in the middle with our others, Thiago, Ginny, and whoever else, be it Hendo if he's back, or, you know, I would even, to be honest with you, when in case of gobshite bloody Ramos starts to get dirty, you know, we need a bit of nastiness in the middle to combat him. And don't forget, no one's even mentioned him. The player apart from Casillas who's done the damage with his great saves in the last game when he beat us. They've got no Gareth Bale, and he scored 2 cracking goals. One of them I thought was a worldie. You know, we haven't even mentioned him yet. They've not got him now. You know, although they've got these good young players come through, he was the one that done the damage.
Absolutely. I think that's an interesting point. Personally speaking, I think because of Jota's readiness to run beyond and his movement is greater than Firmino's, Firmino's performances lend themselves to being marked by Ramos. Jota would not be stationary. I think Bobby can be a bit flat-footed, a bit stationary, and when it's not working for him, it's quite easy to play against. That's because his levels have dropped a little bit this season. So I think certainly at home, you'd want to stretch him. You really would want to get in and stretch him a little bit. Varane is a tremendous player, but the others aren't. You know, Ramos is living on a reputation of being a tremendous player over the years. Guy's 34 now, and I know that the next Terry Gibson, who does all of the media work in Spain, says he might be 34, but he played like he's 24. Genetics don't allow you to do that. You just can't be that man anymore. So I think for me personally, I get what you're saying, Dave, but I think for me personally, I probably would go with as mobile a front line as we could get. It would worry me, and I'll get your thoughts on this in a minute, guys, to change the formation to play 3 and somebody up front at the tip of the diamond. That probably, for me personally speaking, and I'm not discrediting what you think, because that was our own opinion. For me, that would be having to work on tactics too close to the game. Thoughts on that, Ian? Do you share that opinion, or do you go with what Dave said?
I don't think it. I think if all the fit, obviously without Henderson, I think you have to go with Gini, Fabinho, and Thiago. I think this could be the game where Thiago really shines for us, because you can get in and about in that midfield now. People, I mean, talking about Ramos being 34, Modric is 35. I mean, I know he's never been had an abundance of pace, but I always think your mind switches off a little bit as well when you get to that age. You think 1 second less than what you did before. So I think we have to play that midfield. It has to be Gini, Fabinho, and Thiago for me.
Sorry, I completely missed him out. He went right out my head. How can I forget him?
That's the team I'd pick. And then the rest of the team, I think, picks itself then, doesn't it? Because if we haven't got any of our centre-backs back, you've got to stick with the 2 warriors in Kabak and Phillips and go with Robertson and Trent, Alisson and our front 3. But I think, as in you said about Dortmund before, I think Real Madrid's midfield can be got at, which is the phrase that we used. And I think our midfield is built for that stage.
You never know. Virgil might be back, sorry.
Go on, Dave.
Sorry, Virgil might be back. You don't know, do you?
I was going to come to that in a minute or two. So thanks for stinging the host under there, mate. Appreciate that. Luka Modric, you're quite right. He is getting on, but he's a ridiculously intelligent footballer who's playing his football in a box that sits directly in the centre, and his movement and his appreciation of when to take the ball and when to move it. If you're not careful, you don't get near him. And it's exactly the same with Tony Cruz. Both of those guys are never going to win a foot race against anybody. That's not their style. Tony Cruz didn't have pace when he was 20. Never mind 32, 33. He's not getting any younger, is he? Casemiro is another one that, whilst he's a good player, lacks pace. They may go for Valverde in that 3 instead because he's a lot more mobile and is a lot more combative than the others, and will cover the ground and potentially could do a job sort of a one-on-one with Thiago if Thiago's detailed to be creative. So there's lots of different permutations, and I think that's what makes this really interesting, because we always know what we're playing Saturday to Saturday. We know what Leicester are about. We know what Man City are about. We know what Aston Villa are about. But these games are very, very different. There's a really good point that was made earlier about 7 of the 8 teams have been to a Champions League final. Admittedly, Porto was a while ago now, but that stays in your club's DNA. And like Jay, I often say to Man City fans, if and when you get the Champions League bug because you win one, and you embrace it when the lights come on and the music starts, your club goes from where it is now to a completely different level because you've embraced the tournament like Liverpool did. That is our tournament. That's the way we perceive it. We are same mentality to that tournament as Real Madrid have got with regards to that tournament. That for us is what we are. That's our lifeblood. Champions League is everything. If we make it number 7 this year, that would be absolutely tremendous. So, looking at the semi-finals, we navigate Real Madrid. We get to the semi-final. Virgil van Dijk's training with the ball and with his teammates, with contact. He's come out of strengthening and conditioning, and he's doing a bit more sort of work with the rest of the players. Just a yes or a no. Ian, do you risk him?
No.
Jay?
No comment.
Don't sit on the fence. Come on. Do you risk him?
It's a tough one. It's such a tough one. It depends on the opponent. If we're facing Porto, no, not a chance. If we're playing against Chelsea, then yes, all day long.
Good answer. Dave Kong.
It's the Holy Grail. Hell yeah.
I think it's a situation personally for me where if he's anywhere near it, remotely near it, anywhere near sort of match playing, they're possibly look at it. If it's a gamble, if he's not near it, they'll just stay away from it. You know, there's talk of him not travelling to the Euros, so I don't think he's as far down the line as possible. I just thought I'd ask a question there just to see. So we'll go round robin round the room. Who wins? Dave Kong, Bayern or PSG?
PSG.
Jay, Bayern or PSG?
Bayern.
Ian, Bayern or PSG?
PSG.
Well, I'm going for Bayern, so that's 2 each. So we're and as I'm the host, I get the deciding vote. So you two PSG lovers, you know what you can do. So on to the next game. Man City versus Dortmund. Same again. Dave Kong, who are you going with?
Erling Haaland.
Okay. Jay?
City.
Ian?
City.
And I'm going City as well.
Oh!
Right. So Dave Kong outvoted again. So on to the semi-final in that draw. So we've gone for Manchester City versus Bayern. Ian, who are you going for, Man City or Bayern?
Bayern.
Jay?
Bayern.
Dave Kong?
Definitely Bayern.
I think City will beat them, but I'm outvoted, so
No.
I just think City is the real deal this season, and only Liverpool can stop them, by the way. So, what other round robin? Quarterfinal. Chelsea versus Porto. Jay, who are you going for?
My heart on my head.
Either or. Just go on, be a devil. Tell me who's going to win it.
Fucking Porto.
Ian?
Chelsea.
Dave Kong?
The them boys.
I'm going to go Porto's. I think Porto will shock Chelsea. I think
Defensively sound.
and they're a little bit lively. The first guy to score a goal when we came back a lockdown, his name was Jesus Corona.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't know that, did you? Right, so the other game, Liverpool, Real Madrid. We obviously, we're all collectively going to say Liverpool are going to go through, yeah?
Yeah.
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 So the semi-final, I voted for Porto, so I got the casting vote. Either way, let's be a bit cleverer about this. Liverpool, will they beat Chelsea or Porto? Do we see them getting through the semi-final against either of those? Ian?
Yeah, it's Liverpool to Champions League, yeah. We'll do it.
Dave Cohn?
Yeah, our boys are going to be up for it no matter who it is in the semis. Definitely.
I love a good semi.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
I love that. So dismissive. How dare you ask me that question? I'm going to frown at the screen and say, yeah, of course, 100%.
Any of those can get it.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm not going to go through the ignominy of saying who's going to win the final, because we all know if we have to walk the 20 miles from Istanbul to the Ataturk to watch our Reds play there again, we're not going to come away empty-handed, are we?
Nope.
We get to the final, we'll win it. I'm convinced of that. So that's 27 minutes in, guys. We did say we'll do a 25-minute pod, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you do, jump on our YouTube, give us a 5-star review, hit the subscribe button, come on these shows, hit the like button, jump onto Twitter, join in with Red Sky Pods, follow that. Follow all of these guys on their socials. They'll talk to you all. Dave Kong especially will talk to all of you. So, thanks very much for coming on, boys, and we'll catch up with you later on in the week. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks, one.